Welcome back to Just One Question. And this next guest of mine has become an old friend. We've gotten to know each other over the last couple of years, and I just keep getting impressed with this guy, with his resilience, with his clarity of focus, and the way he keeps moving forward despite pandemics and despite everything else that's going on in the world. So welcome, Martin G. Moore. He's and I think this is the core of it, really. He is the no bullshit leader. And I guess if you don't take any bullshit and you don't give any bullshit, then you can just go forward in life. The rest of us are left struggling along behind. Martin is the co-founder of Your CEO Mentor with his daughter, Emma, and there's probably a story there. And he's got a new book out, which I recommend in the highest possible terms. No Bullshit Leadership. Not surprisingly, that's what it's called. It's out September 28th. So rush to your bookstore and buy it now. He's got an online course, Leadership Beyond the Theory. And there's a new cohort starting October 18th. So sign up. And if you miss the date, sign up late. He might forgive you. I don't know. He'll tell you because he's no bullshit. His website is martingmoore.com. The podcast is No Bullshit Leadership, and that should be enough to get us started. Welcome, Martin. How are you doing?
Thank you, Nick. I'm doing wonderfully well today. Thank you so much for having me on Just One Question.
You are welcome. No tricks, no muss, no fuss. That's the least I can do for the no bullshit guy, is just to give it back to you. So what are you excited about these days? Just one question.
Well, of course, I'm excited about the upcoming publication of my book. And you've been living the dream with me for 2 years, Nick, so you know what it's all about. Just by way of background, I used to be a corporate executive and CEO in Australia. That's my quaint accent. And I set up this business with my daughter in 2018. And Emma was haranguing me over a period of time to actually step out of corporate because she thought I could do more with my life and do more to impact the world. And I said to her, "That's a really good idea, Emma. I've always wanted to write a book." And she just laughed and said, "Oh, come on, Dad, a book is so 2010. So she said, we're not leading out with a book, right? We'll get to a book eventually, but we're leading out with a podcast. And the beauty of this was that when we set the podcast up, we had no expectation of whether or not it was going to resonate. Now, as a corporate CEO and ex-strategy head, is there anything dumber than going into the most crowded market on the planet, leadership development, with zero barriers to entry? And so when we set up the podcast, I said, who knows if this will work or not? Maybe what we've got to say is crap. But here we are a few years later, and we're in 70 countries with the podcast. We're approaching 2 million downloads, which is fantastic. So it is resonating with people, and we're seeing a lot of that cut through. And of course, our early products, because podcasts are substantially free when you start off, unless you're Joe Rogan and get it to the stage where you can sell it to Spotify for $100 million US. But it starts off free. And of course, you've still got to make money. But this is where people learn to trust. And as people learn to trust our content and to trust what we were saying, to say, well, hang on a minute, there's actually something here. That is no bullshit. I really like that. And of course, they refer it and they review it and they send it to their other friends who are leaders, and it grows from there. So the book, No Bullshit Leadership, has come as a natural extension of what we're doing with that audience. As you well know, publishing it in the USA only by Rosetta Books, which is an imprint of Simon & Schuster, so one of the big five. And when we started this journey, I came to you as a complete neophyte. I had no idea about the publishing and speaking industry, and pretty much everything I've done has been hand in hand with you, which is why, for your audience, how we've managed to develop such a deep bond over only a couple of years, and mostly over Zoom, because I spent most of the time in Australia doing that. But the book, No Bullshit Leadership, really is the culmination of 30 plus years of expertise in leadership. And I actually paid attention to leading because I figured that I wasn't an expert in anything in particular. I've been through multiple industries, multiple job families. And what I had to get really good at was liberating the talent of the people around me, which I learned to do pretty well. And I learned a lot of lessons that gave me scars, and I'm giving a scar-free way to get through it. Now, of course, leadership isn't easy. If it was, everyone would be doing it well. But in my view, developing the right habits, having the right disciplines, and having the will to go forward and become better having the courage to do that every day is what makes a real leader. So I'm looking forward to, and I'm so excited about the impact that this can have on the world once this book hits the shelves.
Well, that's exactly what I was hoping you'd demonstrate for us. That is a no bullshit story and clarity that I've come to expect and respect from you. The one of the core ideas in the book, and I just like to get a couple of sentences on it from you, is delivering value in one form or another. And why is that so important? And I thought, before I met you, I thought the idea of leadership was, to tell people what to do. And you've clarified that for me and changed my rather simple-minded view of leadership. But why is value at the heart of leadership?
Well, it's a great question, Nick, because I think in the past, command and control leadership styles that we had in the post-war years and leading up probably until fairly recently were the way that leaders led. And there was a great backlash to that, and the pendulum swung way far the other way. And we started talking about what desirable leadership attributes are and why it's important that we lead a certain way and what type of person we need to be. We need to be humble, and we need to be fallible, and we need to be transparent and so forth. And in doing so, we almost completely disconnected the process of leading from the need to achieve results. And so I'm re-anchoring that, and I'm re-establishing this connection between leadership and results, because if you're not getting results, you're not leading. And so delivering value in all its forms, not just financial value, but in all its forms for the myriad stakeholders that we all have to deal with now in large corporations, is really at the foundation of everything. That's why we start there, deliver value. That's our first imperative. Do that first, and everything else is in service of that main goal.
Yeah, and that's why I love the book, and that's why I love you, Marty, because you just give it to us clearly and in a straightforward, no bullshit way. So there it is, ladies and gentlemen, No Bullshit Leader, No Bullshit Leadership. Run out and buy it and read it and change your way of leading if you are a leader, because it will make a profound difference. Thank you so much. That's Martin G. Moore, everybody. Thanks for being on Just One Question.
Thank you very much for having me, Nick. And thank you for your contribution to the book, which would only be a shadow of itself if it wasn't for you. So thank you so much.